Welcome to part 2 of my Authentic Confidence Toolkit. 12 tools and techniques to use for increased self-confidence. So today's 3 tools are confidence credit score, the availability game, and mirror work. Confidence credit score, the availability game, and mirror work. Can you imagine your self-confidence as a credit score system? How low or high would your confidence credit score be on a daily basis? And imagine that your capacity and your ability to get jobs, make money, form loving, fun relationships and friendships, manage your physical, emotional, and mental health. Imagine it was all based on your confidence credit score, like your ability to get a mortgage or to get finance for a car. That's all based on your financial credit score. But you also have a confidence credit score too. And that confidence credit score, I believe, exists every day. We're basing on our abilities. We're basing our life experience around this confidence credit score. And I believe that you don't need to do anything to increase your confidence credit score. I don't believe that you have to go out of your way to be anything different than you already are. I believe that you're already good enough to have and be all of the things you want in life. And that it's all about simply shifting. I mean, I say simply, but it's not simple. It's really, the concept is simple, shifting your perspective of yourself. So together right now, let's give our confidence credit score a really big boost. If you're like me, who is someone who has struggled with low confidence for most of their lives, my confidence credit score was probably in the minus. Years ago, I had so little self-esteem and so little self-confidence that I really didn't like myself at all. I thought that I was not good enough. I felt unsafe to be seen. I felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I was powerless and helpless. And I felt like I was kind of a victim of my circumstances. And then my confidence credit score was like overdrawn. It was in the minus. So right now we're going to give our credit score a really big boost. And you can do this on your phone notes as well, if you don't have a piece of paper right now to hand. So I want you to write down in a list form on your paper, write down the titles: accomplishments in life so far, accomplishments in life so far, positive personality and physical traits, positive personality and physical traits, good deeds done, peak life experiences so far, things in life you enjoy, good intentions in life, your values, your good habits, your positive aspects in childhood, celebrations in childhood and adolescence, and the obstacles you overcame in life so far. Right now, in this moment, I want you to think of one thing only at this moment in time, and write underneath or next to these titles. So write one accomplishment in life so far. Perhaps you have done something exciting, like you've gotten a job you've always wanted, or you have celebrated something in some way, you've achieved or you've accomplished something in your career, in a relationship, in a job, with a pet, with a friend, with a family member. Maybe you overcame something, right? You overcame an illness, a mental, emotional, physical illness, anything you've accomplished. And this is what I love to do as well. If I'm struggling to think of something, what I will do is I will put my both hands in the center of my chest, take a nice deep breath in and out, and really think about the question. So accomplishments in life so far, and feel into that, tap into that. I graduated university. That was a huge accomplishment for me personally, because I left school at 15 and I was told that I would never amount to anything. I was told that I would never, when I said I was going to college, I was laughed at. I went to college first and then uni. To get my grades up. But yeah, so that was a huge accomplishment for me, especially because I'm dyslexic, ADHD, and on the autism spectrum. So, and had many challenges with confidence. So that for me is an accomplishment. So if you're struggling, that's always a really good way to practice, is to tap in, take a nice deep breath in. I call it tapping in, when we put our hands in the center of our chest and take a nice deep breath in and out. really helps us to switch off our critical thinking mind and go deep into ourselves, into our emotional body, where most of our memories actually exist. We remember things because of the way they made us feel, right? An accomplishment is a positive thing. So the next one, positive personality and physical traits. Just one thing, either a positive personality trait or a physical trait. Positive personality trait, a good listener, or you're kind. Physical trait, you have nice eyes, you have nice legs, you have nice fingernails. And again, if you can't think off the top of your head, hands in the center of your chest, open your hands, place them in the center of your chest, breathe in and out. And you will have something that pops into the front of your mind, into your frontal lobe. Okay, next one, good deeds done. Think of a good deed that you have done in the last week or two, month or year or decade. I'll bet you have done many, but right now we're just thinking of one. So one good deed done so far. The next one is peak life experiences so far. Peak life experiences so far. Again, just like the first one, accomplishments in life so far, a peak life experience, something that you're like, yes, I did this thing. This is awesome. A peak life experience that might have been like, I don't know, getting married, getting engaged, having a child, picking up your dog or cat from the first time you saw them from the rescue place or wherever you got them from, celebrating something with someone, going and doing a marathon, anything that you think that sticks out in your mind as something really exciting and awesome that you did. The next one is things in life you enjoy. So what do you enjoy in life? Do you enjoy spending time in nature? Do you enjoy spending time with certain people? Have you got hobbies and things that you like to do? Cooking, I like to coach, I like my job, I love my job. That's a thing I love in life, I enjoy. So yeah, things in life you enjoy, just pick one and write that down. Good intentions in life is the next one. Good intentions. So we're just going to think of one good intention, right? What good intention do you have for yourself and your life? What is a good intention that you have? A good intention that I have, I intend to have a really satisfying life. I intend to be satisfied. That's a good intention that I personally have. You can take that one if you can't think of any. That one feels relevant for you. And again, if you're struggling, hand in the center of the chest, breathe in and out, and really tap into your emotional body. The next one, your values. Pick one thing that you value in life. What do you value in life? What thing do you value? It doesn't have to be the most important thing that you value. It could just be a thing that you value. I value creativity. I love being creative and I value creativity in others too. What do you value in life? The next one, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is your good habits. Pick one good habit and write that down. One good habit could be you like to exercise, you like to get out in nature regularly. What's a good habit do you have? Perhaps you stretch every morning when you wake up. Perhaps you meditate for 5 minutes a day. What's a good habit that you have? Brushing your teeth, right? That's a very good habit that many of us forget about. Not we forget to brush our teeth, but we forget that we have that habit, that we do that habit. We've kept that habit for a very long time, right? So that's a very good habit that if you can't think of anything, pop that on your list. The next one is positive aspects in childhood. What were you like when you were little? List a positive aspect. Just one positive aspect. Were you outgoing? Were you bold? Were you creative? Were you funny, excited, joyful, optimistic, always looking out for the best in others? Were you always expecting to see the best in others? Did you have hope? What was a positive aspect? Creativity, again, playfulness, and again, tap in. The next one, celebrations in childhood and adolescence. So do you have anything that pops out when I say the word celebrations? Celebration, what did you celebrate in your life before, like in childhood or adolescence or any time in your life? There's something really fun that you can think of where you really celebrated, like an occasion, a birthday, something that sticks out at Christmas, whatever holiday you celebrate. Is there anything fun that really sticks out for you? Write that down. And the next one is obstacles you overcame in life so far. And this is a really important one because so many of us have overcome a lot. We are really resilient beings. You're a very resilient human being. And I believe that you have overcome a lot in life so far, but we don't celebrate it. We're not encouraged to celebrate it. We're encouraged to just get on with it because that's what life is, right? Life is just a stream of things that we overcome and then we just move on to the next thing and overcome that too. But if we stop for a moment and take note, if we stop and just feel into the things that we've overcome. That could be an illness of some sort. It could be getting out of a bad relationship or a friendship that wasn't working, where we've recognized, actually, this isn't good for me, so I'm going to move away from this, I'm going to step away from this. Perhaps we've overcome an allergy or an eating food intolerance, low self-confidence. Maybe you're something you're still working on that we're going to count. We're going to count anyway right now because why not? Let's celebrate it. Even if it's something you're still working on, obstacles you've overcome or you're overcoming in life so far. Write that down. And again, tap in if you're struggling to think off the top of your head. Obstacles in life so far. I realized what I didn't want in friendships and relationships. I overcame a lot of unhappiness. A lot of unhappiness that I just put up with because I believed that struggle and sacrifice was the name of the game on this planet. When actually that's not my truth anymore. So if that resonates for you, you can feel free to write that down. So yeah, this is your confidence credit score. This is such an amazing practice to work on because we can use this. We can use this as confirmation that actually, do you know what? Things aren't as bad as my brain wants me to think that they are most of the time. I'm not as bad as my brain wants me to think about all the time. My life hasn't been as bad as my brain wants me to believe. And something that I will be talking about, not the next one, but the last one of these calls, is the inner critic. And our inner critic is that voice that we have inside of us that is made up of all of the people who have ever criticized us or put us down or bullied us or made us feel bad. And this voice, especially if you have low self-confidence, can be really freaking loud. Sometimes it doesn't know when to shut up. And it can be overwhelming and it can really overpower us. And we can feel helpless to that inner critic voice. But when we start to build up our confidence credit score, it's a weapon against the inner critic. We can use this every time our inner critic chimes in and wants to put us down and tries to put us down. The inner critic is there because it wants to keep us safe, right? But actually, it's not keeping us safe, it's keeping us small. Yes, it's keeping us safe in some respects, but it's keeping us small more than it's keeping us safe. It's keeping us feeling powerless more than it's keeping us safe. The confidence credit score is a really good tool to use against the inner critic. It's an amazing weapon to use against the inner critic. We can also use it internally when we are experiencing external criticism from other people, because even though criticism hurts, it's rarely about what we have done. And if somebody makes us feel bad or says something to us, say in a work situation or a family member or in a relationship, if someone says something that triggers us or makes us feel bad, we can refer back to the confidence credit score, and we can affirm and we can remind ourselves how well we have done. And it's a really good reminder that it's rarely about us. If someone is criticizing us and it hurts, of course it's going to hurt. But if someone is doing something, is criticizing us, it's rarely about us and what we have done. And it's usually about where they are at an emotional level. One thing that I've taught my clients is that criticism is one finger pointing this way, outwards, and 3 fingers pointing back the way. So when someone points the finger at you, they're actually pointing at themselves. They're exposing their fears. They're exposing what they're afraid of most in the world. Criticism is all about fear. It's all about that person projecting their fears onto you and what they wouldn't do if they were in your physical shoes, or being triggered because you're doing something that they couldn't do. So why should you have the right to do it? So I love it. It's fascinating. Something that I will probably get into in a lot more detail at some point in the future. But this confidence credit score, I implore you, I encourage you to keep building it, to make it a practice, because you'll notice a huge difference in your confidence in your life in general overall, but also about how you feel about yourself in a healthy way. And you will witness your life becoming more fun. And actually, these 3 tools that I'm teaching you tonight are the tools that are client favorites. They're my favorites and they're client favorites. They're the tools that I've used the most in my life to create a fast result with my self-confidence. 3 tools, and this confidence credit score and the next 2 that I'll teach you, they have changed my life, absolutely. And they've changed the way that I feel about myself. They've changed the way that I think about myself, and they've changed the way that I step up. Right? Because remember, confidence is actually split into 3, right? You have your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, your self-concept, what you think about yourself, and your self-confidence is the energy that you take action in the world with your self-esteem and your self-concept, how you feel about yourself and what you think about yourself. It's the energy that you step up and do the things with. It's the energy that you take action with. And when I have taken action after using these tools, my energy is different and the results are different, and it feels better, feels less complex, and a lot simpler. Life has felt a lot simpler after really practicing these tools for an extended amount of time, or even just instantly. After doing the confidence credit score right now in this moment, like, how do you feel? Do you feel yourself given like a little confidence boost? Because that's what it's for. It's to give yourself a little confidence boost, because you're like, actually, yes, I have done some things and I actually do like this about myself. The second one, the next one, is called the availability game. And I love this one. It's so fun. It's one of my favorite tools for greater self-confidence that I teach my coaching and counseling clients. It is deciding what you are available and not available for. What are you not available for in work, relationships, friendships, with family, with your finances, with your health and life in general? What are you not available for? Write this down. I am not available for, make a list, in work, relationships, friendships, family, finances, health, and life in general. I regularly do this. I remind myself what I'm not available for. I'm not available for disrespectful behavior. I'm not available for lateness. I'm not available for criticism, negative criticism. I'm not available for going under a certain amount of money in my bank account. I'm not available for working after a certain time of day. I'm not available for working through my break times or my holiday times, my precious time off. I'm not available for missing out on my time outside to exercise and get fresh air. So yeah, what are you not available for? Because in order to know what we do want, sometimes we have to know what we don't want. So what are you not available for? What experiences can you think about in the past where you thought, that was a really crap time, that was a really crap experience, I don't want that anymore? And that could be with work, relationships, people, finances, being in a financial situation, health, diet, friendships, and life in general. Sometimes you have to know what you don't want. And actually knowing what you don't want is so powerful, because you can say no. And if you struggle to say no, this is really powerful. This is a really powerful tool, because instead of saying no, you can say, I'm not available for that. I'm not available for that. Can you do this, Iona? I'm not available for that. When are you doing this? I'm not available for that. It's the answer that I give when I don't have the courage, when I don't have the emotional stability to say no. No is such a powerful phrase. And when we practice this availability game, we're setting boundaries. We're setting boundaries in these same aspects of work, relationships, friendships, family members, finances, health, and life in general. What are you available for? What are you available for? You can write down on your list, I am available for, and then think about, work, relationships, friendships, family, finances, health, life in general. You could write down, I am available for positive experiences. I am available for fun, loving relationships. I am available for compliments. I am available for kindness. I am available for getting to places at just the right time, or doing things in just the right time. I am available for feeling really good about how I look. I'm available for feeling more confident. I'm available for earning more money this month. I'm available for having difficult conversations with people if it helps. So that's one thing that I've become more available for, is having difficult conversations that might have been scary for me to have in the past. But actually, one of my values in life is honesty. I value honesty. And if that means if telling the truth means having a difficult conversation with someone, then I'd rather do that than not. So I'm available for having difficult conversations with people if it helps them or me in a healthy way. So have a think about that. Have a think about what you are available for, what in life you are available for. This is such a powerful tool. And I regularly have clients tell me how much this has changed their life. It's changed their daily life experience, and how much it's actually increased their self-confidence too. They've probably always known what they are known what they're available for or not available for. They've never expressed it in such a way where they've decided what they're available and not available for. Because many of us, especially those of us who have low self-confidence, have gone around our day-to-day lives without having any boundaries in place. And it makes it very easy for us to get taken advantage of, or for our confidence to get even lower because we don't have any boundaries set in place. Once we start practicing this tool, this game, right, the availability game, we are setting boundaries for ourselves and for other people. And life becomes easier. Again, it becomes simpler because we're not having to stress out about upsetting people or saying no, and that's going to upset someone. Because if you're not available for something, you're not available for something. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to explain why. You just simply say, I'm not available for that. I'm not available for that. Yeah, it really helps us to say no to things that we might not feel confident saying no to. We can simply just say, I'm not available for that. We can decide what, in fact, we are available for in life. So that's number 2, the availability game. Self-confidence is where the action is. Self-confidence is all about how we show up in the world, how we take action using our thoughts and feelings about ourselves, right? About ourselves and the world around us. The last and final tool for this evening is mirror work. Mirror work. Using a mirror, something that you look at yourself with in a reflection. I was afraid of my own reflection for many, many years. And I thought that looking at myself in the mirror was bad. I thought that it was narcissistic and conceited, and that I shouldn't like myself. I shouldn't like the way that I look. If other people don't like it, then why would I like it? Mirror work involves looking at ourselves in a mirror on a regular basis to say words of encouragement, affirmations, or simply smiling at ourselves in the mirror. It is so challenging when you first start doing this. Oh my goodness. And the way that I like to teach mirror work is to either look at yourself in the eyes or smile at your body, looking at your body and appreciating it, or looking in your eyes and appreciating yourself, looking into your eyes and talking words of affirmation, pep talk, positive things, smiling at yourself, looking at parts of your body and smiling at them, giving those parts of your body words of affirmation. This is so powerful because we've been taught, so many of us have been taught that this is bad, that we shouldn't like ourselves, that to like ourselves means that we will become bad people, that we'll start to be narcissistic and we'll start to be conceited. Nobody likes a narcissistic person. Being conceited and being narcissistic is like the worst thing you could ever be. Liking yourself, dare I say, loving yourself can be the worst thing you could ever do. But someone who is authentically confident within themselves does not have a problem with themselves. They are secure. They are secure within themselves. Someone who does not like themselves, does not like the way they look, does not like the way they are, is not secure within themselves. They're insecure within themselves. So that person will most likely be low in self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-concept. They will think negative things about themselves. They will feel badly about themselves. Someone who is insecure will most likely take action depending on their fear, right? They'll take action based on their fears instead of how they feel and what they really want to do. I love this exercise. I love this tool. I love mirror work, because it's helped me to like myself again. It helped me to like myself. And it makes things like this like way easier, where I have to look at myself like during like things like it's helped me to share my work with the world. I wouldn't want to share my work with, and I couldn't share my work with the world for so long because I didn't like myself. How can I become a coach? How can I coach others on liking themselves if I don't like myself? Do you know what I mean? So this really, really helped me. It's taught me to like myself again after a childhood and adolescence of hating myself and feeling disgust towards myself. Like I carried a lot of shame, toxic shame, and self-disgust. I loathed myself, and I would tell myself how much I hated myself on a regular basis. I was constantly feeling shame and embarrassment for the things that I would do every day. Every day. I couldn't look at myself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I hated the way that I looked. I'm naturally skinny and slim, and I'm naturally tall. And that, for a lot of people, triggered a lot of people. And I was constantly told there was something wrong with me. I had to have an eating disorder, or there was something wrong with me to look the way that I did, including family members. I began to loathe myself and find it really hard to feel confident within my own body. And even look at myself was really hard to do. But then it also, when I started doing this work, when I started doing the mirror work, it really helped me to feel confident about my body again, regardless of its shape and size. So now I've been able to put weight on as I'm older, and now regardless of my shape and size, it doesn't matter what I look like. I could be skinny, I could not be skinny, I could be whatever size. And I feel like this work has really helped me appreciate my body regardless, in spite of what other people say, and regardless of what shape and size actually is. What I do is I started off simple by looking into my own eyes and saying hello with a smile. It's easier. It's easier if you start off this work by doing it in your head. It doesn't feel as like, oh, cringy and challenging. And then I evolved onto saying things in my head like, I'm okay, or you're okay, whilst looking at myself. And I'm safe, you're safe, and it's all good. Everything's working out. Everything works out for me. Coupling that with smiling at my body, smiling at myself. I smiled at the parts of my body that I really struggle to like. And I've noticed over time that this has really, really helped my body confidence. And I'm actually also really interested in seeing how those parts change and transform the more I appreciate them, or stay the same. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna appreciate them anyway. When I was late teens, early 20s, I found Louise Hay from Hay House Publications. Louise Hay was the founder of Hay House, and she has a number of books for popularizing mirror work and helping a lot of marginalized groups of people who were programmed to loathe themselves through conditioning, right? Cultural conditioning coming from other cultures and their own cultures. But she was a really big proponent of mirror work. And I actually wrote out over 10 years ago, I wrote out a list of affirmations that she taught, and I would say them to myself in the mirror, especially when I was feeling at my lowest. And when I was feeling at my lowest, it was a struggle. It was so hard to do, because the last thing you want to do when you're feeling crap, when you feel like crap and you're like besides yourself with like stress and anxiety and depression and despair, the last thing you want to do is look in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself, right? The thing that you want to do is look at yourself in the mirror and go and beat yourself up, right? You're an idiot, I hate you, you look awful, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to help. That's not going to help that's abuse, that's self-abuse. So what I had to do, I had to really transform that perspective. I really had to shift and force myself to say nice things to myself in the mirror to myself. I found a list that I wrote out, so I've put it back onto my whiteboard. I've got like a magnetic whiteboard next to my mirror in my bedroom, and that's where it stays. And I look at it, and I have this really warm feeling, because I remember when I first found this list, I remember how difficult it was to really to say these things. So I'm going to say a couple of them. They're Louise Hay's. They belong to Louise Hay's. They're not my words. They're her words. So some of the things that are on my list that you can try, and I encourage you to try. I am lovable because I exist. I feel good about myself. I feel good about my life. I release the need for self-criticism. I speak up for myself. I am comfortable with my power. I use my power wisely. It is easy for me to stand up for myself. I am self-confident. I acknowledge my self-worth. I love and approve of myself. I am wise and wonderful. I appreciate myself. And that's just a short snippet of them. There's so many of them. But when we first start saying these things, we don't believe them to be true. We believe the opposite to be true, right? Things like I am lovable because I exist. Many of us have spent our whole lives feeling unlovable. And all we have in our subconscious mind is evidence to prove, to show that we are indeed unlovable. So when you first start saying things like that, like I am lovable because I exist, there's like this force, this resistance against it. But again, the more you practice looking at yourself in the mirror, in your own eyes, looking at your body and saying these words, it's like a wall, it's like a wall of ice. And then the ice starts to melt and the wall starts to break down. And actually, when you start to say these things, it's like, feels like relief. That icy wall turns into this like warm blanket of relief. And actually, yeah, that is my truth. It goes from being something that's so far out there and so unbelievable to something that is like, actually, it feels good to say that. It feels good to remind myself that is my truth. It takes time, it takes consistency, which is why these tools are so powerful. It's not an overnight job. You can try this mirror work. Just look at yourself and smile at yourself in the mirror and see how that makes you feel. See how different your confidence is. Like, smiling is such a powerful chemical booster. It really helps us to boost serotonin. It helps us to give us those powerful feel-good chemicals to surge and circulate throughout our bodies. It's so powerful and it's so helpful. So what to do is set a reminder on your phone for the next couple of days to try each of these things out. 5 minutes, add things, a couple of minutes, add things to your confidence credit score. 5 minutes, sit and decide in the afternoon, decide what you're available for, not available for, add to that list. Do a couple of minutes of mirror work, right? Do a couple of minutes when you're brushing your teeth. Look at yourself in the mirror and smile. Tell yourself that you are lovable, because you exist, and that you're worthy because you exist, and that everything's going to be okay. Even if for some reason you don't believe it is true, imagine that you were talking to a loved one, someone that you respect and cherish. Because I believe the relationship with the self is the most important relationship we will ever have.